Ladies and gentlemen, clients, prospects, and friends, welcome to today's program. My name is Warren Stokes, and I'm going to be your host and presenter today. A couple of organizational points before we dive in. First of all, you can submit questions through the webinar chat panel, and I'll get to as many of those as I can during the webinar. You can also follow up. I'll post my contact information at the end of the program, and it's on the screen right now. And I'll start by just giving you a little kind of a brief background of kind of the topics today. The main topic today is absolutely going to be important to all of you, I'm sure. Otherwise, you wouldn't have signed up for this webinar, but it's really how to effectively manage your sales pipeline. And we're going to be using Profit CRM today, which is if you're already a Profit user or client, you'll know what that is. And I'll be going through a lot of the content and topics with you in some detail. First, I wanted to give you a little bit of background, kind of frame the rest of the conversation. And one of them is, you have to really focus in on this. And frankly, most people aren't that good at managing their sales pipeline. The way I like to put it, is hope is not a strategy. I've talked to countless companies and people who say, I ask them, well, what's your strategy for the coming year for sales? And they say, well, we hope to build up, our sales pipeline and, basically just generate more sales. And, that in and of itself is not a strategy. What I'm going to be sharing with you are some very useful techniques and ways of creating and managing your sales pipeline, which I think will help you at the end of the day generate more business. And that's the whole goal. I've been involved in sales and sales management for quite some time, well over 15 years. I've helped close to 1,000 companies get started and grow their business with profit. I'm also a bit of a technology nut. I hold a couple of US patents and have another one pending in this area of sales automation. And I've got quite a few, viewers and subscribers on my YouTube channel, which you're welcome to check out at any time. Easy to find. Just Google my name or search for it on YouTube, and you'll find a lot of these webinars recorded. And today's webinar is also being recorded, and you'll see it posted on our website and on YouTube within the next day or so. So let's get started. The main concepts of profit are, first of all, in order to manage a sales pipeline, you have to create it. So we're going to show you how and what to capture in the way of opportunity data. Some people call them leads, opportunities, prospects. As you may know, it's all customizable. Call it whatever you want. It's the makeup of your sales pipeline, very important. A key concept, and if you take nothing else away from this, maybe this would be one of them. Always establish the next step in your sales process. You'll find that it helps move things along quite nicely. There's ways to set automated follow-up. And frankly, one of the big challenges in sales and sales pipeline management is follow-up. So Profit has some great tools for that. You have to get your mind around what your priorities are. They could be different for each of you, but really you have to be able to manage your sales pipeline by your priorities. And a key concept is, frankly, whenever you connect with a prospect, update the record. It's not very hard. And if you don't do that, you're going to lose track of where you were and where you left off. Key dates are, of course, important. Estimated close date, last modified date, things like that. Next step date. And then we're going to, towards the end of this, we'll roll it all up into how to get useful data out of the system in the way of different types of reports. I call it actionable insight because it's not just data or reports for the sake of it. It's actually to be able to more effectively manage your pipeline from the data that you get out of the system. Creating opportunities is not that hard. I'm going to cover all these in just a few minutes in the live demonstration, but you can create opportunities right from an existing Outlook contact. When you create a contact, by the way, in Profit, the company records are actually created automatically, and then it starts associating all of the contacts with that company. It's pretty cool. You can do drag and drop Outlook function to create a contact, and then one click create an opportunity if you wish from an inbound email. You can import data from Excel. You can create contacts, companies, and even opportunities from Excel. It's a good way to get started if you're just looking at getting started with Profit. It's also a good way to import data from lists that you might procure. I'll be covering that. You can also use that same tool to mass update records. So you don't have to do it one at a time. We offer website form integration. You can capture contacts, accounts, or even opportunities right from your website. A little bit of setup on that, but it's not terribly hard. If you're interested in that, get hold of me after the program and we'll walk you through what's involved in that. We can also integrate with other systems. We have over 500 applications that we can integrate with right now. And that's something that would probably be another discussion at some point. But again, if you're interested, let me know. We'll help you out. Capturing key opportunity data, though, consists of creating or managing company records. If you're a B2B, most of your records will revolve around a company. There's some things you really need to capture, things just like contact and company name, of course, if there's contacts associated with it. You want to make sure you get the description of the opportunity and any other fields that are important that'll help you manage it. It's kind of a must-have, should-have, nice-to-have thing. If you're managing a pipeline, it's good to estimate the potential revenue. That'll roll up into forecasts and reports, as you'll see. Estimated close date, or whatever your terminology is. You might call it estimated bid date or due date. But one of the key fields is when you think you're going to get that business. Probability, not an exact science, but you'll start developing a correlation between like what stage you're in and the likelihood of closing, and that's going to help you do your forecasting and manage your sales pipeline as well as just the stage. You might want to look at your pipeline and see how many active quotes you have out there, how many deals are still yet to be qualified, things like that. Nice to have information would be things like maybe what industry your client is in, so you can sort and filter by that, do outreach based on that, maybe by territory, or maybe by who the competition is or where the lead came from, things of that nature. The next step is something that we're going to focus on a couple, 3 times, but it's really like this. Imagine that you always identified the next step in your sales process. In Profit, an Outlook reminder is automatically created from that. And wouldn't that be great, because it'll just keep things moving forward. It's a simple, effective way to move things through your sales pipeline. There's ways to set automated follow-up, and we're going to cover all this in the demonstration here in just a moment. But just to get your mind around it, one of the most important things in sales is follow-up. And yet, frankly, most people aren't very good at it. In fact, some of the best salespeople I've ever met weren't all that organized. They just had really good skills for sales. But let me tell you, if you combine sales skills with good follow-up, you're going to be lighting it on fire. Never lose track of a deal again. That's the whole idea. Managing by priority simply means keeping things organized around key dates or other information like the value. Hey, who wouldn't want to know what your top 10 opportunities are or whatever? Easy to do in Profit. We can show you that. By estimated close dates, you can start forecasting. Probability, likelihood of close. You'll get better and better at that as you use this system. By the sales stage, like we talked about earlier, or when was the last, deals get cold. Sort it by the last modified date, so you can go in and make sure things aren't getting stale. You can do email blasts through Profit, and we'll be covering that. But really, one of the key concepts is just document what you do. And I've heard salespeople go, I don't really have time to do it or whatever. And I don't mean to have the whiny voice, but that's kind of what it sounds like. But we make it really easy. There's predefined activities. You just click, left a voicemail, click, did a quote follow-up. And you can set a whole series of automated follow-up. And if you send out group emails, those activities, along with other things like appointments and things, emails sent are logged automatically. It's really pretty easy. You can also dictate the notes into the system from your phone. I'll actually demonstrate that today. So, and then we're going to wrap it up with some reporting capability. There's dashboards that can be enabled if you're not already on it. There's 3 types of dashboards: pipeline, activity, and account creation dashboards. And then there's various types of reports that we can run. But I wanted to kind of get this idea across. Then we're going to jump into the actual program here. All right. And again, this webinar is being recorded, and you can request it afterwards. It should send you an automated email with the link to it. Thanks for that question, by the way, Brian. I think of data as the what and the so what. The what is just the data, but it's not very useful unless you understand what you're trying to do with it or what you're trying to get out of it. That is the so what. We're trying to help you get actionable insight. Maybe some reps are doing really well. Maybe you want to look at what they're doing, correlate their activity levels or the way they manage their pipeline so that others can do the same. I call it the what and the so what. Some reps are more productive than others. Try to find those correlations. Where are you getting your leads, your prospects? Which ones are producing the most revenue? Without trends, though, it's very difficult to use data. In fact, in my personal opinion, trends are the most important part about the data that you capture in Profit. Things like, is your sales pipeline improving? What does that mean? Well, how many opportunities do you have in it that are active? What's the total value of your pipeline? Is it up, down, flat? Are you creating more contacts than last month or last quarter, or fewer? What about opportunities? This is all basic stuff. You may want to consider actually setting up some metrics or some goals, maybe how many contacts you're trying to create, whether you're an individual contributor or you're the manager of a team. Set some basic goals, and that way you'll be able to track your performance to those goals. Where's your business geographically located? Where's it coming from? That's a useful thing. Profit will help you with that. And here's a couple of business tips for you, and then we're going to go into the program. First of all, find out what's not working. If you're getting a bunch of leads from some source that never convert, why bother? So don't do as much of that. And finally, business tip of the day, find out what is working and simply do more of it. That little tip might help you a lot. So we're going to go into profit now, which is basically just Outlook. And to get you oriented, it all is profit. Once you have profit, you'll see profit ribbon, but the main navigation is a set of folders that get added to Outlook. Now, I've moved my folders up into my favorites. If you don't know how to do that, you can take any folder and you just right click while you hover over it and say move to favorites, or add to favorites, or remove from favorites. I also put these little dashes and the arrows just to kind of highlight them to make them look a little different. All that is just using the rename folder feature. So you can rename any folder, as you probably know. Some people might want to change the default term opportunity manager to lead tracker. You just right click, rename folder, pretty easy. But a lot of things start with your inbox. So why don't we just start with something that's really basic, and I think will help you a lot, just kind of save time and make it easy to create contacts and companies and opportunities. Got a cup of my favorite Starbucks cappuccino here. Now, here I have an email from somebody. Good friend of mine and client, Anthony Hopkins. He's needing some more licenses of profit, so he sends me an email. Now, what if I didn't know if this Anthony was in my database? Well, I can do a drag and drop, and watch what happens. This is really cool. I'm just going to grab that email and drag it down over my people folder and let go. That's called a drag and drop. It's an Outlook function. And Profit will check to see if this contact is already in my database. The reason I have two of these, by the way, is we can show you the deduping feature if we get time for that. But in this case, Anthony Hopkins already exists in my database, so I can just open that contact and maybe create an opportunity from it. The Profit ribbon has a lot of functions. The create record is the ability to create an opportunity with that contact. It's really that easy by taking an inbound email, drag and drop. Profit does the dupe checking, and then if you want to create an opportunity, you can do it right from that contact. So I now have a new opportunity here. I'm just going to call this a webinar example as the description, but in your world, this is whatever describes the opportunity, and then you can fill out additional fields: region, sales stage, lead source, where did it come from, type of lead, that sort of thing. Whatever it is, these are customizable fields, by the way. If you're a Profit user, your company has already set these up for you, and they're but I'm going to go through this here briefly while we're creating the opportunity. So again, I took an email, I detected the contact already existed, I drag and drop, I click one button, and I've got an opportunity created. Fill out a few key fields. And by the way, interesting in sales pipeline management, did you know that there's really only 4 pieces of information you need to really manage your pipeline? It's true to a large degree. Probability is one of them, estimated close date, potential revenue, I'll put some numbers in there, some dollar amounts, and sales stage. What stage are they in? So I'm going to quote that. So I'm going to put in what we call proposal stage. Notice the notes from the contact ended up in the opportunity automatically. You don't have to leave them in there, but that's the default option. So an email turned into a contact. One click, it turned into an opportunity. And now I'm tracking that in my sales pipeline. Pretty cool. These fields can be set up to be either drop-down lists, date fields, numeric fields for like revenue, or they can also be memo fields or text fields. Now, a memo field is just an expanded text field. You can put a bunch of information into that, and it'll be a memo field. Maybe you want to capture the competition. Maybe there's none, or maybe there's some competition that you want to particularly look at. or keep track of. And so we basically, along the top here, captured the opportunity, but I mentioned the concept of next step. Now, this is really powerful. What if the next step was to send a quote? Well, maybe I want to actually create that as the next step in the opportunity. And you'll see why we do this in the opportunity in a moment, but maybe I want to make that due today. Look what happens. Profit creates a reminder to do that, linked to the contact automatically. From here, it's just an Outlook reminder, and you can set different things like priority, complete, percent complete, things of that nature. And I'm just going to save and close that, and it's just created a reminder for me to do it. Now that reminder is actually sitting in, it's going to be viewable in the profit record, but the cool thing about that is that next step reminder is actually on my to-do list over here in my task list in Outlook. You may or may not know this. You can put your task list on the right as a taskbar. I'll show you how to do that in a moment. Or you can just go into your task lists in Outlook. I like to show people a few little Outlook tips as we go. So I'm going to show you something here. You'll notice at the bottom left of my screen, it says mail, calendar, people, and tasks in nice big words, letters. I like that. But the default view of those four functions in Outlook is actually a compact navigation, and you can change that back and forth. So if I go into navigation options and select compact navigation, it's going to go back to that default, which are just little icons. Some people like them that way, some don't. But these three little dots are where you can change that simple little navigation to go from compact to expanded navigation, and that puts those little things in words. Very nice. Not everyone knows that. But in any event, the main point is that by just simply creating my next step in profit, it actually put it on my to-do list here in Outlook. There it is. It pops up, reminds me to do it, and so on. All right, so we've created an opportunity. We've set our next step, and now maybe I want to call this person, but I don't get him, so I just want to put a note in that I left a voicemail. Profit, as you may know, has predefined activity entries. You can work with your administrator to add to this or edit them. The point of this is to make it super easy to log those activities in. Maybe I did a quote follow-up. Maybe I had a meeting and I took some notes, put it in there. Maybe I just want to make a note that I did a continued outreach. These again are customizable. Your profit administrator can customize these for you. You have to work through, if you're already a client, you would have somebody that's the profit admin. So that would be how we create an opportunity. Great. We've captured key information, the source of the lead, the status, the stage. And I was talking about those four pieces of information that are useful to manage your sales pipeline. Again, what they are: the stage you're in, probability, estimated close date, and revenue. If you get those four things, you're going to be managing your sales pipeline. You get at least a B+ if you go that far. If you get an A- or an A+, you do a next step and you log your data in. That's it. Now, I know it's a little bit of work, but think of it this way. What if you had an opportunity for some fairly significant amount of money and you didn't follow up? Well, your competitor's going to get in there. Sometimes it's not who's the best salesperson. Sometimes it's just who has the best follow-up, which brings me to another function in profit. So in addition to just having a single follow-up, which is nice, you can actually set a whole set of follow-up, kind of a drip series. I'll show you that now. And we'll drill into some of these as I get deeper into this as to how all of these are created and such. But Profit has automation throughout it. We're going to cover some of the contact and company data here too. But we're in the opportunity. We're in the sales pipeline stuff here. Workflow is what we call the automation for an opportunity, and it's based on having a series of follow-up events or activities based on the stage that you're in. Each one of these can have a completely different series, but let's say I get a brand new lead. So that would be in our world, we call it stage 1, lead. Next step would be qualifying, demo, proposal, and so on. But let's say that I wanted to initiate my contact with this prospect. What do I normally do? I usually send them an email with all the information in it, and then I would follow up. Well, we can automate that. Now I'm showing you the cooking show approach where the finished souffle here it's all been set up. I use this all the time. We make millions of dollars from this follow-up, I got to tell you. Once it's set up, you just click the label, which is also a button right here called the sales stage. And it will ask me if I want to process workflow actions. That's the automation. I click OK, and a number of things just automatically happen. First of all, this email is created automatically, and you can see how it picked up the first name of the contact because that's how the template was designed. And I will get into how to do that here in a moment. It also inserted the company name there. It inserted the person's first name again here and so on to basically create a personalized email. But, I might have just talked to that person. Thanks for your interest in Profit CRM Outlook. I see you need some more licenses. Here's some more information for you. It's all Outlook, so we can do spell check, things like that. I'm just going to send it now. I could add, an attachment or edit it more. But look at this. I've got a follow-up task already created. Well, it falls on Saturday, so I'm going to change that to Monday. Save and close. Now look at what we've done. That introductory email was generated. The first reminder was generated. And I have another email out on the 28th, another one on February 4th, another one on February 11th, and yet another one, the 4-week drip series is what this is, on February 20th. Awesome. This is what helps you make sure that this opportunity won't fall through the cracks. It is your follow-up friend here. It is what's going to help you make more money. So you get an A+ if you do everything I've just shown you on managing opportunities, let me tell you. And more importantly, you make more money. All right, that's the cool part about it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and dig a little bit deeper into this workflow part of it, and that is the ability to set automated follow-up templates. So you go up to your Profit ribbon and you go into settings. Every Profit user will have this. And you can see that I can, when I open up the settings, one of the settings area is the sales automation tab. Let me walk you through this because I really think that this will add a lot of value to your sales pipeline management. This is where we set up the templates for the automated follow-up. Now, you can see I have a bunch of templates already made. So if I just click edit, you'll see what they look like. And we'll create a new one as well. This just brings up the type of template that is, and this is an email template. And notice here that it's just like any other email, but it's an Outlook email template. So there's a subject line. Notice I put company name in parentheses, no space, that's important. And you get instructions every time you create one, I'll show you that. But it says hello, parentheses first, that's how it picked up the first name of the contact. So that's when I sent that email, it said, hello, Anthony. And down here, I put in the first name again. So it's in the actual email, it'll say, Anthony, just let me know when you'd like to get together. Awesome. Once you've, so that's what a template like that looks like. Now let's create one from scratch so you know how it works. So you go, again, open up that, I'll go back and start over. Profit ribbon, settings, that's one way to get to this anyway. And you can see that there's a sales automation tab, but this time we're going to create a brand new template, okay? So I go over here to the right, you can see where my cursor is, new, and you select the type of template you want because you can make templates for emails, appointments, or tasks. And I'll call this 00 webinar email, okay? Just to kind of differentiate it from the others. So I just gave that template a name, it's not the subject line yet, and I said I want it to be an email template in this case. So when I said the instructions are in every time you open up one of these, here they are. This gives you the kind of the field names to use. It tells you how to create a template. I already know how, so I'm just going to delete that. That's what you would do. And you would say something like, hello, parentheses first, end parentheses, comma, and then you put in your content. Now, you may know that Microsoft 365 or Outlook 365 supports templates. Quick parts are another type of template which you could use, but I'm going to show you the template function here. Over here on the upper right, you'll see view templates. Now you have to create your templates first, super easy to do, but here is some content from a template. Look at that, it filled out the entire email for me. Now I can edit it a little bit, make a subject line. All right, I'm creating a new template still. Now, I like to put my signature right in the template. And for that, you can just insert your template as Outlook does, or you may already be set up to automate that. If you see where I'm at down at the bottom there, I would just insert my template. So once you're done creating your template, you just say save template, and that's all there is to it. That's now an email template that I can use. Well, how do I get it to launch when I send my series out? One more step for that. What you do for that is you go to the template that you've created and you click the assign button. Now the assign button will give you a couple of things that you'll make a decision on. First of all, there's two types of automation. One of them applies to contacts and companies. We just call that sales assistant. And the workflow action is for opportunities. Let's create one of those. So I just pick that radio button, and you notice that when I do, down at the bottom here, a drop down appears that it's your stage settings. And here we are. I just have all of my stages. So I can, any one of these stages, I can have a series that this email will belong to. If it were in stage 2, if it were in stage 2, then I just set stage 2 down here. If it were part of my first stage series, I'd set it in stage 1, and so on. So the idea behind that is that you can then create additional emails or reminders or appointments in that stage. So that's the idea. And then once you've associated those templates with your different stages, you'll see them down here, either in your sales assistant actions, which again relate to contacts or company records. But I'm working in the opportunity, and you can now see all of my templates that I've created. And each one of these has the name. You can see how many days that they are in the series, 0, 2, 7, 14, 21, 30, and so forth. And that's how you will be able to visualize your sales automation for your sales pipeline. Pretty awesome. I got to tell you, again, this is so valuable. There is a setting, by the way, to automatically, one of the questions here on the audience was, in the audience today was, can you have your email signature automatically pull into this new template? You most certainly can when you're in the email template itself, or you can just put in your signature as part of the template. One of the things that I haven't shown you yet, but you can also use what are called quick parts to insert your signature or anything else anywhere in an Outlook email or appointment or anything. Watch what I did there. You can use the template function and have your signature in there. But what I just did is I entered some content from what are called quick parts. Let me cover that briefly. It's another type of template. The difference with this one is it's based on a keyword that can pop up a predefined block. I could also just go into my list here, and insert content from a template like that, from a quick part template. Or I could start typing in the term signature, and you'll see that all I have to do is hit the first 3 letters of it if that's the name of that keyword, and I hit F3 and it populates that template. Cool. See how that worked? And again, you can go in and just manually go in and look through your templates here. Might even be just one sentence. Let me know when I can help. Put in your signature, things like that. These are quick parts, and you can do those in the Outlook templates or just in Outlook. It's pretty awesome. Also, I have some webinars that are just on Outlook. So if you ever want to check those out, you can go right on our website and see them. Very popular, very popular. So what we've been doing, focusing mostly on, to kind of do a quick review, one of the ways that you can create an opportunity contact and/or companies just through a drag and drop of an email. We looked at that. If a contact already exists, again, you can just go up to the ribbon, click create, and it creates it. Now I'm going to show you a little Outlook, an Outlook trick here. Notice that I have some of these functions right here in the top of my contact, and it's called the quick access toolbar. I moved it under the ribbon, and you can actually change that. So show above the ribbon, puts your little shortcuts up here. If I go to that little arrow, right, see where I'm at? And I go show below the ribbon, and now any of those ribbon items, ribbon actions here can be in this. So for example, if I wanted to add something else to my little shortcut bar here, pretty cool, watch this. Following, I right click and say add to quick access toolbar, right? Assign user, add to quick access toolbar, or any Outlook function. Save and close, add to quick access toolbar, and it's putting them right here in this little shortcut bar. Pretty cool, I think, anyway. The point here is that a Profit has its own set of actions that you can take. One of them is to create an opportunity. Hey, speaking of following, people in the audience might want to know what that means. Profit Instant is the feature name, and it allows you to follow contacts, companies, or opportunities. So anytime you're in any one of those, you can choose to follow it. And I'll show you an example, because opportunities are probably one of the more common things that people will follow here. And let me just show you how that works. So let's go into an opportunity record, and I'll show you what that following function does. It's called Profit Instant, and it gives you the ability to follow opportunities, contacts, or companies. So you'll see the follow symbol throughout Profit up in the upper part of the record here, and it says follow. If I were to click that on this opportunity, I would get email alerts whenever something in that opportunity is updated. And those will come in as emails, and I'll show you a few on my left here. I use rules to route them into folders because I get a lot of these, but it's really just an email alert that shows you what happened. As you'll see, that these are just, here's what changed. The most recent notes, what was changed in the opportunity. And from there, you can also open that record that you're following. In the case of an opportunity, there's just a little button in the email that lets you open it right up from the email here. Click, open it up. Pretty awesome. So that's the idea of following. And you can, again, follow opportunities, companies. If you're in a company record, you can follow it, or you can follow contacts. So imagine then if you had a very important opportunity, well, what you could do is follow it, so that maybe you're the manager, or maybe it's just somebody that you're working with, and you want to keep updated whenever that opportunity has had some sort of update to it. It's pretty powerful. So let's segue into another aspect of this here, and we're going to go into let's go into taking all of this information and these opportunities, and we're going to manage them in our what's called the sales pipeline view. So I'm just going to go, I'll just go into my opportunity folder here just by clicking on that folder. By the way, you may know that you can open Outlook folders in different windows, which is, I do that a lot. What that means is I can have, here, look, I can kind of show you. I have my inbox open, and then maybe on another monitor, I have my opportunity manager, or whatever I use the most, and I can keep them open at the same time. It's pretty awesome. So we're going to start managing our sales pipeline. And one of the things that you want to manage it by is your priorities. Well, every person in sales or business development knows which side their bread is buttered on. It's in the revenue side of the world. So you might want to just be able to put your revenue right. Maybe you want to move that over. You can just drag and drop that over to the left-hand column if you want. All of these columns you can move around, by the way. See how I'm just dragging and dropping. But anyway, I just sorted this by my revenue descending. So now I can maybe take a look at maybe my top 5 opportunities, or top 10 opportunities, or whatever. And this gives me the ability to take a quick little, let's just look at my top 5 opportunities. Notice how I'm just highlighting them with my cursor there. They kind of highlight in blue. Now, you may or may not have seen this, but right down here at the bottom of that screen is a summary of what I've highlighted. I've highlighted 5 opportunities. The total value is $8,693,000. The average deal size, well, that's a pretty nice pipeline, if I do say so myself there. Look at that. Now, so one of the concepts here is just managed by priorities, revenue being one of them. But you may also want to sort it by some date field, perhaps estimated close date. Let's just drag that over here. Maybe I want to sort by estimated close date, so I can see all the deals closing in these different time frames. Here's my March closes, my April closes. If I want to just do a quick look at everything that I have that might be closing in, that I'm forecasting to close in April, I don't even have to run a report, which we're going to get to. We're going to get to some reports here. But all of those that I just selected, you can see how they're highlighted. They're all April closes. Shows I have 7 deals I'm planning on closing in April. They're worth $816,000. Average deal size, 116K. There you go. Pretty awesome. So estimated close date is obviously an important date field. But another important date field would be your next step. Over here on the right, you see my next step and my next step date here. Again, you can drag and drop things around if you want. And I'll move that right over here. Now, let's say that I wanted to look at my next steps that are due in a certain time frame. The little funnel icon is a filter. You can sort things, but filtering is useful too. So I want to sort things that are maybe between 2 dates, or filter rather between 2 dates, between now and the next 2 weeks. So out of those 32 opportunities in my pipeline, you can create a list of everything that has a next step due date in that time frame. You can clear the filter by just hitting clear, and away you go. or you can just sort by that field. It's a date field, so you can sort. And each one of those is the next step date. Man, organized, pretty cool. Again, if you keep that next step thing going on, man, you're gonna be cooking with gas there. All right, so another useful field to keep in mind is the last modified date. Notice you can sort by these, or you can, so just clicking it twice sorts it in reverse order. And then all of these are last modified date. So all of these were modified in January 18th. These were on, last December, getting a little cold. And that's the whole purpose of this. You might want to go in and look at your older modified date range, because those leads do get cold, right? This is a quick way to just make sure things aren't getting cold. All right. And I got a few questions coming in. Let me take a quick look at those. Here's a new one. Thanks for the question here, Randy. I'm a financial planner, he says. A client may have several opportunities, multiple life insurance policies, annuities, etc. Is it a best practice to create individual opportunities for each and treat treat the client as a company? That is exactly the way it would work. And let me show you. Might as well segue into that while we're talking about it. Is in Profit, there's 3 types of data: contacts, companies, and opportunities. In a company record, you'll see all of the opportunities associated with that company down here, and underneath, notice where I'm at right here with my cursor, general notes. And if you click on the opportunity tab and click search, you'll see all the opportunities associated with that company. Go to a different company, you'll see different opportunities. So the reason that opportunity tracking is important is each one of these is a different business transaction you're working on for the same client in this case. So yes, it is best practice to create an opportunity that are related to the same company. And by the way, when you have opportunities that are related to the same company, I'll open an opportunity here. In Profit, it's kind of like a 360-degree view, no matter what record you're in. If you're in an opportunity, you can see any other opportunities for that customer here in the Related Records tab. I'm right here on the lower right of my opportunity. If I'm in the company, as I just showed you, you can see all the opportunities for that company. And similarly, if you're in a contact, you can see all the opportunities related to that contact. Let me just show you that briefly. So I'll just open Contact Manager here for a minute. Notice I'm opening it in a new window, but you can just click on it if you want. So again, no matter what type of record you're looking at, contact, company, or opportunity, you'll be able to see all of the opportunities associated with that record. In this case, we'll just look at a contact record. And in this case, we'll say, I'll look at my list of contacts. In fact, I'm loading all of my current clients in here. So useful because I can have different lists of contacts and how they might be created. But here's Brad Pitt, and here's all the opportunities associated with that contact. So you can see, oh, that one didn't have any, but I'm sure you get the idea here. So we can search for opportunities associated with a contact, company, or opportunity. Now, getting back to the automation, this is a good time to talk about. I mentioned briefly that you can set automated follow-up for not just an opportunity, but you can set an automated follow-up for a contact or a company. And that can be useful because you might not have an opportunity for a contact, but you still want to set some automated follow-up. So I'm in Contact Manager. I've highlighted a contact, and I went over here to my Sales Automation tab. You have to first set these up as I showed you earlier, but then you can set like a drip series for a contact. You can do the same for a company, etc. So the whole idea of automation is like one of the most powerful parts of Profit, or really any good CRM, but we're talking mostly about Profit today. I wanted to get a little bit more, before we get into reports, I wanted to get a little bit more into, I wanted to talk a little bit about importing data. Now, I'm not going to get deep into this, but there are really several ways that you can build your pipeline. I showed you how to create a contact and an opportunity from an inbound email. You can also just create them manually. Now notice here, I'm going to just go into create a new contact, and I'm going to type in the first name of this contact, Mel. All right, now I could have a lot of Mels in my database or contacts. Yeah, look at all those Mels. But let's type in the last name, Gibson. Now it's doing a dupe check, but it's much narrower. Oh, I have a Mel Gibson in my database. Better open it up and take a look. Well, okay, that's actually Mel Gibson. That's the one I thought it was. So it's a dupe checker. I don't want to create a duplicate contact. That's really, really handy. What I usually recommend, by the way, in a contact is, you know, the contact isn't usually where you put all your business notes. That's usually in the opportunity or the account record, depending on kind of what you're doing there. The notes that I put in contacts are usually kind of where I met them, maybe a little bit about them. So look at this note that I put in the Mel Gibson's contact. It says, I met Mel at the Intercontinental Hotel in Chicago. He was filming Payback and was wearing that black leather jacket from the movie. Guess what? I actually did meet Mel at the Intercontinental, and he was wearing that jacket, and we had a nice chat. But anyway, the point here is that Profit has a dupe checker, so whenever you're creating contacts manually. Now, the company record was created automatically when I put in a company name. That's pretty handy. So we're kind of just going through the different ways to get stuff in your pipeline and in your database. You know, while we're talking about it, and a follow-on question on the company record was, you know, maybe you work in a situation where you are dealing with families. The company record can be any kind of entity that you want. Working in insurance and even sometimes real estate and things like that, sometimes the entity is a family, perhaps. So you can have, or a household or something like that. So you can see in this case, I have the company name being the Diaz family. I have contacts within that record, which are the people that associated with that family. Company type, family. I'm just showing you the different fields here. You have customizable fields in the company record as well. And so the idea here is that the company record helps you associate people with that record, the Diaz family. Benji Madden is actually Cameron Diaz's husband, last I heard. Tiger Woods got adopted by them, I guess. But the point here is that you can have contacts associated with the entity called a company. So a family can certainly be a company or a household or something like that, or a piece of property. This could be, you know, 367 Main Street property or something if you're in real estate. Pretty cool. All right, so I'm just keeping an eye on my chat questions, answer as many of those as I can go. I got a question here. It says, if you are set up to do an automated follow-up in a week and that customer gets back to you prior to that automated follow-up, will you need to be removed, or how do you know? Okay, that's a great question. So remember, when you've set up automated follow-up, you can have that. There's going to be a series of those items here in your workflow. And at some future date, that workflow item will be scheduled to pop up. Now, task workflow items just remind you in Outlook to do it. They pop up, you mark it complete or move it out. Appointments are just on your calendar. Email automation pops up in a queue because this gives you the ability to manage what you want to do with it. Whenever you have emails that are due, they pop up in an email queue, and I can choose to process, snooze, or delete. You can even open it before you process it. So you might want to edit that. This is actually a real one. Might as well get some work done during the webinar. A couple of those. So the point is that they're not sent without your knowledge. You actually get a chance to review, edit, snooze, delete, whatever you want to do with it before it gets sent. And if you're in an opportunity, you can also, let's go back to Opportunity Manager here. You can also, if you set workflow for that opportunity, you can deactivate them here. So let's set a new series right here, and I'll show you how to do that just to be thorough on that automation part of it. And I still am going to get to reports here, and we have about 15 more minutes, so stand by for that. I'm sure you're on the edge of your seats to get that happening. All right, so I have just set a series of automation reminders, the introductory email, and I have these other, but what if a week from now, or a little less than a week from now, Julia calls me, and if I want to, I can just uncheck that box right there and disable that workflow, or I can recheck it, or I can uncheck that one, or those three. It's kind of an open architecture workflow, giving you control over how you want those to be managed. So that's the answer to that, is you control the automated emails. And that's nothing worse than having your client get an email that says, hey, it's been a while since we talked, and you just 5 minutes ago were on the phone with them, right? I'm sure you get that. So let's save that one. All right. Yep. So one more question regarding to contacts and companies. So the question is, if you're in a company account and you open up one of the contacts, would it show the family company name as the DS family? And the answer to that is yes. They have to be either added as a contact with the family name in it, which of course is by default going to show up there, or if you create the contact from that company record by clicking add here, it will automatically create that company record as company name as part of that contact record. That's pretty cool. One of the things I mentioned was the dedupe options, and that'll be the last thing before we get into reporting here. So the idea of dupe prevention is throughout Profit. I mean, we have all kinds of ways of creating or preventing duplicates, but I'm going to show you. We're going to go in, and I've intentionally left a duplicate contact in here. I have 2 contacts for Anthony here, and I'm using a little function here called advanced search, which bypasses the parameters and filters of whatever view I'm in. So I'm going to just type in the name that I want to look for here, and it's going to bypass all of the filter settings, and it's going to load up anybody by that name, Anthony Hopkins. Now, the idea here is that I can see, in this case, there are 2 Anthony Hopkins, doggone it. And I might want to determine which one is the overriding or the better one. That's looking pretty good. That's got all my information in it. This one here looks like the dupe that was inadvertently created. So one of the ideas here is the last one you open and save will override any of the other settings here. And so I'm going to just make sure I save this version of it first. Now, all I have to do is select 1 or more duplicates. There could be 3 of them or so. You never know. Some people can sneak them in there. A lot of duplicates going on. And I simply select the records, in this case, contacts that I want to dedupe. This works for companies as well, by the way. And I'm going to right click and say merge contacts. And what this will do is it'll apply some business logic to the merging. Notes are always appended. It'll never overwrite notes from one contact to another. Blank fields are automatically populated, and the more recent version overrides the older version if based on your most recently saved date. I click merge, and Profit just automatically does all that deduping and merges them into one contact record. So that's the deduping function, and voila, we just successfully deduped a contact. Pretty awesome. All right, now we're going to get into some reporting, and I don't want to overwhelm you with this, but let's just take an example. First of all, let me just load up a list of contacts. Just randomly, I'll choose my Hollywood contacts. And you may know this if you're a Profit user already, but Profit has customizable fields throughout. One of them is the contact fields, and these are defined by your Profit administrator. Type of contact, are they a qualified lead? Where did the lead come from? Role, sometimes different than title. Bio, remember that was an important potential note. But then I can take any of these lists and I can start filtering them down and to create a report of some kind. So let's go in here and I'll show you. I've already added 3 filters to this list. These contacts are all in Hollywood, California, zip code 90210. That's the filters for this list. And by list, I mean it's just one of my available lists in my drop downs here. In a future training session, we can talk more about how to create views, but briefly, all we really do is put the columns in the view that we want, and then we start adding our filters. So I could add another filter. And notice this is just like an Excel filter. That's intentional, so that I can filter this down by a 4th criteria. Let's say all the current clients that are in Hollywood, California. Okay, so out of that, it's going to narrow it down to 13 contacts now. Maybe I want to narrow that down by some other criteria. This is handy. Hobby. Notice that you can filter not just by the drop-down values, but by a text search. Let's say hobbies. I want to find all my clients in Hollywood, California that have golf entered as one of their hobbies. Let's just say, aha, there they are. And by the way, might as well send a group email out to these. So in Profit, you can do this anytime you want, whether it's a contact, company list, or opportunity list. I just select any or all of them. I could say select all or just highlight certain ones of them. Right click, send a group email might be a good example of a use of this, and then we'll show you how to run some reports. I'm gonna use the Profit's built-in email blast tool, and I'm gonna say create an email. And why don't we use a template while we're doing that, or 2? All right, let's go in and look at our templates. All right, there's a little template there, and maybe I want to add that to it. So all I'm doing is creating an email. I could just type it up if I want, you know, and all we're doing is creating an email, but when I click send, everyone on that list is going to get a personalized Outlook email. I'll finish it up here. When you first click send, it'll send that first one. Look, it's reminding me I might have forgotten to attach the presentation. I love that. Office is getting pretty smart, Outlook and Office. Send anyway. All right, now the first one got sent. It'll be in my sent items. I can go check it for typos, but let's just say I did that and it was fine. I click send again, and now it's going to continue to send that same email out to those other people on the list. A couple of points about the profit group email function. It's not intended to be a mass email function, quite the opposite. It's intended that each recipient gets a personalized Outlook email from you. Very handy, very nice. It is literally just an Outlook email that I sent to each one of these people, sent individually, but I sent them in a group. There's no exact limit on how many of these you can do. You may have limits in by your IT people on how many emails you can send in an hour or a day. But that's a function. But let's move into reporting here. We'll wrap up with that. We got about 10 minutes to go here. All right, are we ready? Well, one of the easiest reports you can do in Profit, no matter where you're at in a list, is simply hit that little green Excel button that you'll see in up above the list here. And you have your choice of exporting all the rows or just those that are selected. Click the next button. It's really this easy to get a report out of Profit. I get a lot of questions. I want a custom report on all the contacts I created this month. It's so easy to do. Filter by date range, click Excel. There's your report. Pretty awesome. And most people know how Excel pretty well. This is probably one of the more common reports that we get, right? You can do all your formatting and Excelimation and charts and graphs. It's Excel, right? Just click Excel. This is also very useful to export it to other programs, like export that list and import it into some other program, maybe an email, some other email program or what have you. But in any event, whenever you're in a list in Profit, and again, you can sort and filter and create whatever list that you want in Profit, you can create an Excel report from that. But let's cover a couple of other types of reports here. One of the types of reports that you can do here are available through this button that you'll see in the top of all these windows called just reports. Pretty obvious. It's going to have these 7 categories of reports, and there will be default reports that come with this. But let's just say you wanted to run a report that's based upon the stage of your pipeline. Pretty useful for today's topic, right? Well, all I really need to do is put in the date range I want, add some other criteria for filtering if I wish, but I'm just going to run a quick report of all of my sales pipeline that fall in that date range. There we go. There it is. You can see the value, deal size, how many deals I have in each stage, what the estimated close date, the client name, how much it's worth, some totals and averages and stuff like that you can put in there. Now I can just print that or save it as a PDF, Word, or Excel document, and voila, you're going to go to a sales meeting. The boss says, how many deals do you have that you've quoted? 9. What are they worth? Here they are, right? Beautiful. Easy to do. Now you can also change the formatting by hitting the designer button when you selected a report. I'll just show you. You click let me go back and do that a little slower. I clicked on the image button here, which is just one of the types of fields. And over on the lower right, there's one that says image, and there's a little button there. You click it. And then you go into your images, which are, I'll just go into Profit logos here, Nvidian logos. And maybe I want that logo, or maybe that one right there. So I'm just, now, ooh, that one's a little too big. Let's go get a smaller one. So these are all just different little images that you can put into the logo here. So any image that you put in, I'm not having very good luck selecting that. Let's try the small one. That makes sense. There we go. So now maybe I want to change the color of that headline or move things around. Over here on the right, foreground color. This is not intended to be super deep training on this tool, but just to give you some idea. There we go. I'll make it that nice cyan green. Now that I've saved that, you'll see that logo change and that color of the font, and maybe I move things around, is now going to be visible in that report because we changed the template. Nice. Wonderful. We're getting a few more questions. I'm gonna capture these, but please feel free to follow up with me after today's webinar. We're gonna wrap up here with dashboards. This has to be enabled. What I'm gonna show you are called Profit Analytics, and they're available through the Profit tab and this button here, but you do have to be enabled by your administrator for this. This creates dashboards. These can be run through Outlook, and our standard dashboards pop up. They can also be run through what's called Microsoft Power BI Desktop, which is a free application. I like to use it. It gives you a little more flexibility, but you can actually let's just get rid of some of these fields on the right there, and you can see that in these images here, they're all controlled by these sliders. They actually call them slicers and dicers. So here's my pipeline, and you can see how as I move these fields, I'm on the upper left here in my date range. You can see how those starting to bring in different data there. So there's pipeline, there's activity. These are the standard dashboards. Again, moving things around. You can see how that changes the view. Things like how many contacts you created, how many companies, when were they created. And then the third standard dashboard are these dashboards of, it's kind of a count of new entities created, mainly contacts and companies. And it'll show you like how many contacts you created, where they're geographically located. There's a little map overview here. If you're creating opportunities, what's the value of those opportunities? Contacts by job function, we use some kind of fuzzy logic sort of AI to extract that from the contact data. Are they VP level, manager, owner, C-level, director, consultant, individual contributor, or what have you? And the purpose of that is so that you kind of know in your sales pipeline, are you developing contacts that are good, meaningful decision maker contacts. A couple of quick questions I'm going to try to get to wrap up here, but that's kind of the end of the main functions here, the main functional demonstrations. All right, I've covered the merge stuff pretty well. You can refer to the recording of this if you want, Randy. And when you send that group email I was talking about, no, group emails only see their own. It's just an email from you to them. They don't see the others. There's no blind copies. There's no residue of anything like a third-party service. It's really awesome. Use it all the time. And then one other question I got is the ability to export. Oh yeah, so there's so let me cover this real quickly. We had some changes to the software a while back that then restricted the ability to export data to only admins. There's a recent update. You can get it right on our website if you want, that allows your administrator to determine who can export data to Excel. Some of our clients thought they didn't want people to export. Some said they did. We made it admins only, and then somebody said, well, I'm not an admin, but I need to do it. So basically, bottom line is we listened to our customers, and we came up with a great way to control that. You have to just go to your administrator of Profit, and they can now enable that function for you, but you'll have to update to the latest version, which is 8.2.55, and there's release notes that just went out to that to all current Profit users, you probably know. All right. I am going to point to our website to show you where you can see all of these training webinars, and you can also just contact me after the program today, trying to be on time here. Avidian.com is our website, and if you go here onto the webinar page, you can see today's webinar. That will soon become a video recording, and there are literally we roll these about once a month. We have all kinds of topics, including just Outlook, Excel, Profit, all the different topics. So Avidian.com webinar page. But if you mouse over support, you can also go into the Profit CRM Beginner's Guide and see all of the little tutorials. These are usually 1 to 2 minute little snippets of how to add notes to an opportunity, how to add a contact, how to send a group email. Those are available to any and all of you out there in the audience today. But it's time to wrap up. I know you'd like to spend more time learning more about Profit, but perhaps on the next webinar, we can help you with that. And also feel free to just reach out to us. We are very available. You can email me. You can contact your account manager and just pick up the phone or send us an email. We'll be glad to help you. Again, thank you for attending today's webinar, and I trust that I've added some value to your day. Take care, be safe, and have a good day.